Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hi guys, I am back. And shout out to all of y'all that come back and listen to these Closet Chronicles episodes. And guess what? I'm in a great mood today. So obviously, as you can see, these are not only going to be episodes like this when I'm struggling. I realized that when I started this podcast, and I've said it before on here, but you know me, I got to talk things out. So I realized that when I started this podcast, I started it as a therapeutic outlet for me to be able to externally process my life and the ways I'm trying to grow and what I'm going through, good or bad. And that is what I need as a person. I have a friend that understands that like will kind of like, we call it, I don't know what we call it. I think we do call it externally processing. But I really then realized I kind of need to do it by myself because sometimes I need things to just be about me and not have to worry about necessarily anybody else being there or anybody else uh, trying to make the conversation about them, you know what I'm saying? And then also I journal like pretty much every day, but I don't know. This is for me. So, yeah, I'm in a good mood today, but let me tell you what I realized some of the things that I needed to shift in my life. So, for one, I'm the kind of person who I do not do well in chaos. So like when you come to my house, you could really don't pop up cuz like don't pop up in my house, but you could in any house that I've lived in, you could really just pop up and my house is pretty much always guest ready, not because of guests, but because I just don't function well in chaos. And so I'm in my old room right now as I'm staying at my mom's house, and it's wild because like my mom has it set up where there's like two twin size beds in there. So your girl been sleeping on a twin size bed since I've been at my mom's house, which I mean, it is what it is. Shout out to my mom because she has really allowed me to pursue my dreams, whatever. And you don't always get opportunities like this as an adult, especially an adult with kids. So, literally, shout out to my mom for that. And also, thank God she still has the house that has the space because it's just her and all these bedrooms. But I'm in my old room and for a little bit, so when we came here, it was me and Janae, and Kayliana was living elsewhere. And then now it's shifted where it's me and Kayliana, and Janae has moved out. The plan was always for Kayliana to come back. It was never for her to like move out on her own. And with Janae, I mean, if she decided she wanted to come back, she could because that's just life. You know what I'm saying? But so when we started, it was me and Janae, and we were actually both sleeping in the room together. So when we were sleeping in the room together, um, obviously that other bed she slept in. Well, then there's a fourth bedroom in the basement, and there's also a couch bed in the like family room down there or whatever. So it's so funny because there was a point where she and I got into it. So this is how it started, and we got into it bad. Like police was called, all this stuff. I smacked her, and I don't put my hands on my kids. Like they're beyond the age of getting spankings and stuff like that. So, and I'm not really a put my hands on you because you make me mad type person with them. But in the heat of the argument, whatever she said, it happened. And it was just this whole thing. And so that's what caused her to be like, I need to get out of this room. Like, we need some space. So she went downstairs. And then even when we resolved the differences and all that, because that was before she even finished high school. So that was literally months ago. She still just was like, you know what, we both need our own space. So it just ended up being a good thing. Okay. So then that bed, even though I've never had my room like this ever in my own home, that bed became this like catch all. So, like, robe, extra jackets, this, that, and the other was just kind of like piled up on that bed. And so it just made the room like cluttered and whatever. And for whatever reason, I didn't realize that's not how I get down. It took me a while of being like that to figure out whatever. But with her graduation and graduation party and stuff, we have family coming in town. And so with trying to figure out where everybody that's going to stay at my mom's house is going to be, that bed needed to be freed up. And so that's what made me clean the room, because I'm like, well, I might as well just get this out the way now, because then I can, whatever. So I, deep clean the room and organize my stuff, like, and it's and then it's like how it felt in there that reminded me, like, this is who I am as a person. I am not a person who, like, I make my bed, and I still do that even here, but I make my bed when I get up. Like, stuff just needs to be in order at max. It may be that my desk at and not even so much anymore, but my desk may have like mail, but it's like structured chaos. So it's still like in a pile, but that might be about as much as, if you want to say, mess, that whatever, till I go through the mail and figure out what needs to be shredded or whatever. So it's like, I don't even know why I thought it was okay for me to exist like that. So then once I did that, I mean, the bathroom needed to be clean anyway, so I like cleaned the bathroom, did some deep cleaning in the kitchen, and it's not like any of these places are really dirty, but it's just something about all that cleaning, dusted in the area where like my office is set up, and there's still other stuff we got to do just to kind of like get whatever ready, as far as clean the deck, patio furniture off, and stuff like that, because these people, I mean, and my mom has a decent sized house. She has a 4-bedroom raised ranch house, so it's not a small house, but just family in and of itself, with the graduation party, is like 15 adults and children. So then when you factor in this 30 plus people that she's invited to this graduation party, it's kind of like we got to make sure that people could be outside if need be, because and then the thing, with graduation parties is like, one, not everybody shows up. Two, not everybody shows up at the same time, because it's an open house style graduation party. That's usually how they, at least all the ones I've been to. So it's kind of like, you show up when you show up, you stay however long you stay, or whatever. But yeah, I cleaned and just getting my room, like, when I went to sleep last night, first of all, I got the best sleep and I don't know how long. And even what's crazy is, so, like, how when it's nighttime and then there's this point where your eyes adjust to the darkness and it's not as dark in there, right? But even before I my eyes adjusted to the darkness, when I like finally went to sleep last night, which I usually go to bed definitely after 1 or 2 most nights, but then I'll sleep in, so I get my sleep. My sleep just is different, and it's fine, because I set my schedule how I want it. As long as I'm on time for whatever meetings I have scheduled, whatever else I do with my time is whatever, because as y'all see, even just by content, but even any deadlines I have for clients, like, I meet my deadline. So I usually go to bed after 2. So it's like deep into, nighttime at that point. And I noticed that when I turned the light off and went to lay down and go to sleep and all that good stuff, it's like it just didn't seem as dark in there. And faith is an important thing to me. So who knows if just there was some spiritual stuff or bad energy, however you look at it, for it to make sense for you, because I know everybody has different beliefs. But all I know is for me, I've been doing a lot of internal work. So I've been doing a lot of trying to just like starting these episodes to try to like be okay mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So it's like I've been doing a lot of internal work, but a lot of times the external has to reflect the internal. So it's kind of like I could do all this inner work, but if I'm a person that doesn't um doesn't function well in chaos and I'm in chaos, then it's gonna be very discouraging. And yeah, so I cleaned yesterday. Just cleaning my room in and of itself was enough. And again, it's not even like the room was like super messy. It's just it was cluttered and it felt like I literally, and this is no exaggeration, have been feeling like I have been in jail for I don't know how long. I will have to look through my journal. I don't like read back through my journal, not all of them, but every now and then I'll read back through old journals because journaling is something I've done for years. Like even when I was a little kid, I had a diary. I called it back then. But sometimes I'll read back through my journal, so it'll be interesting reading through this particular journal. Um, because yeah, it has been quite a time. But so that is something that really just made me feel better. And I even said to my mom, like, don't it feel better in here? Because she mentioned, like, there's just been a lot of stupid stuff happening. Like, the dryer broke. And so me and my mom fixed that. Something going on with the faucet in the tub. So I've kind of helped as she's at whatever she's asked me to do. And so that plus she works a full-time job and just trying to do all this stuff. So like when yesterday she mentioned that she was feeling however because of like everything that's going on, that plus there's a lot we need to get done to for this party coming up and all this stuff. I just was like, okay, I get that because that's how I am. So let me just do what I can do to just kind of, because I have the time, like I can prioritize my time how I want. Like she works a set schedule and I don't. So yeah, that in and of itself just made me feel good. And then it's interesting because what I realized what the pandemic has done, working from home is great, um and even more so now that I work for myself and I don't have these huddle calls that I had to get on with my company every day. What I notice is that I have really, and I kind of said that on here, like trying to get back into my self care. So, like making sure I'm exfoliating my skin, especially my face when I wash my face every night. But even when I shower, like bought a little exfoliating thing, like stuff that I'm like skin and hair has always been two things that have been super important to me. Not heavy on makeup, but I'm not opposed to it either. It's more do I feel one okay. Makeup and glasses is honestly annoying because my face gets shiny or I feel like when I have my glasses on and just I'm more of the like matte makeup look. Some people like the dewy look. Y'all men probably don't even know what I'm talking about. It don't matter. I have my preference of how I want my makeup to be if I do like a full face, which I haven't done that in years, honestly. But what I've noticed is I have like dark circles around my eyes. Could be who knows what it could be. And I know there's skin things that you can do to like minimize that and brighten your eyes and all that. But in the meanwhile, you know what I'm saying? My oldest daughter had like some extra concealer. I used to have all this stuff. And then for whatever reason, when we moved out of the apartment that we were in, I don't know why the hell I did this, but I gave them all my makeup, like all of it. Like I don't have any makeup anymore. And I just lately have been like, I don't know, like wanting to do more to enhance. I'm not somebody that obviously is afraid to not go out without makeup, and this is no shade to anybody who wears makeup every day, whatever, because I've been in that season, and then I get out of that season for whatever reason, and then now I'm back in the mindset of, okay, I want to do something. So the little thing that I'm going to start doing, I started yesterday and I also did it again today because I have a meeting, is one, I need to start, if nothing else, kind of like getting dressed every day. I don't really have to get dressed every day because I don't really go anywhere and whatever. But even if it's just, if I don't feel like untwisting my hair, put my wig on, put some concealer on and some mascara, and that's about it. Concealer just around my eyes because I, until we get these dark circles or darkness or whatever the heck in line, hey, we got to cover that up because it was something that I don't like looking at, and I look at myself a lot because either I'm recording company videos, podcasts, or obviously outside of these episodes because there's no visuals, or TikTok content. So I'm looking at myself a lot. So this isn't even about anybody else. This is about me, like, bruh, I don't like those dark circles. And then I would look at, and it's like I have eyelashes, but I would like look at my videos and be like, bruh, where your eyelashes at? And so just little things that just make me feel better, like it's for me. So I'm like, okay, girl, you got to like not stop being lazy, but basically, you know what I'm saying? This is where I say like the pandemic has made it really easy for me to just do nothing, and I can't do that. I gotta do a little something, and something that, because in the summer, makeup in the summer, no. I just full face of makeup. My face get shiny in the winter because I just have oilier skin, and but in the summer, no. So concealer though, that's something that I can commit to, like even in the summer, and just that little bit, that's all I need. Like it don't even gotta be, it's not even a full face. It's really just around my eyes and then some mascara. It's just, a little something that I realize I need to, it's a way to invest in me. And it's funny because I remember one time Penrose, he said it on the first ever episode that he was on, where he was like basically saying, talking about me investing in myself. And I don't even remember how he worded it, but it's something that just popped into my head where it's like, I have to invest. I can't just invest in my company. Like I've been pouring into that, and that's great because I want it to succeed and I want to get more clients and I want to get to a better place with it financially, but I can't like just pour into that. I have to take care of me and have self-care and pour into myself and all that good stuff. So that's just something little that I did that just kind of like boosted my mood, made things better. It's crazy because yeah, Janae graduates. She graduates actually on Mother's Day, so this is my youngest child. I'm done, even though you're never done with parenting. Obviously, I'm at my mom's house right now, but I'm done as far as the first phase of parenting. Now they're all adults. That's also Kayleana's 20th birthday, so that's kind of crazy that she won't be a teenager anymore. Like, even though 21 is like, well, she's like me where every birthday is a big deal, but even though 21 is supposed to be like the a milestone or whatever, I would argue that 20 is too, because you spend from 13 to 19. So the first 2 years of adulthood, you're still technically a teenager, and then when you become 20, it's like you're no longer a teenager. So like that's a milestone. I always hear about her birthday way before her birthday. But yeah, that's, so we'll have a lot of family in town because Janae's graduating, because that's like graduations are everybody graduates high school, most have also graduated college, but the one thing I appreciate about like my grandma, my aunt, etc. is that they will cut like they don't live here, but they come in town for everybody's graduation. And so Janae graduating is the end of the first phase of the grandchildren, because the only other person that has kids is one of my brothers, and she, excuse me, is in I think the seventh grade, so it'll be a while before she's gonna be in the eighth grade next year. And then like his other kids are younger even than that, so it's like this is the break in high school graduations for a while. By the grace of God, my granny has been alive to see all of my kids graduate, because as people get older, you just can't take life for granted. So I know they appreciate that, because people make a big deal out of stuff. It's obviously with Kayliana graduating, there was the pandemic, so it was a different type of graduation. It was we all were just watching it on TV, which actually was kind of great because for one, I ain't have to listen to anybody else's child graduating after she graduated. We were already eating while we were watching the graduation on TV. We had like a combination party slash like graduation watch party. And then once they called her name, we turned the TV off and went on with life, and that was great. And Janae's obviously is a regular graduation, so we don't get we don't get the joy of that, because I was a fan of it. But yeah, this is kind of where I'm at. Business is interesting because one of the most frustrating things I think for me is when like I'm the kind of person that if and part of it is because I prioritize my time. So like yes, there's always work to be done, even if it's just creating content for the company. That's important. You know what I'm saying? That's how you continue to get your brand out there, like free advertisement or whatever, even if it's just the teaching content that I do to build credibility, etc. But there's always stuff to do between everything that I'm doing. But like when a client emails me revisions for standard operating procedure documents or whatever, I'll usually pause whatever I'm doing to hurry up and get their stuff done, because obviously that's a paid thing and I need my money. And so one of the most frustrating things that I'm kind of dealing with right now is if a client moves slow, even just to check their email or do whatever, it just pushes back getting paid. And it's like, what is the balance with that? You obviously don't want to be like super rude and demanding or whatever, but it's been really a frustration of mine, because it's just like, bruh, I'm not going to give less customer service just because they move slow. But it's been a frustrating thing that I've kind of been dealing with lately, because you can't really force anybody to move any faster than they're going to move. And at the same time though, it's like I need my money. You know what I'm saying? Like I this is my livelihood, so it's been frustrating, but at the same time I've really been trying to find ways to be grateful even in the most frustrating situations. And so I will say, well, Lord, thank you for this client that is moving slowly to pay me, because at least that means I have a client, because I could not have a client to complain about, or I don't want to say complain, I guess, yeah, to the Lord, or be frustrated about. And then that means I'm not making money. So it's not really something I'm truly thankful for, because I will definitely tell God that I don't like this. But it's like they talk about like giving sacrificial thanks, or like being thankful for all things. And it's not like it means it's good. Like the Bible doesn't say that all the things that happen to you are good. It says that all things work together for your good. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's just another like just frustrating thing because it's like when people move slow, it puts everything behind. It's been a very humbling season because like I said this whenever, or this is just something I know about me. I don't really like asking people for help at all, but it's something I've had to grow in this season because if I don't, I might not have what I need when I need it, you know what I'm saying? Or might not have it at all, depending on what it is. So it's been a very humbling season in that regard. But I mean, I say this all the time, we weren't created to do life alone. And sometimes what that looks like walking it out looks different or maybe is more uncomfortable than we think. But it's so crazy because when I think about, so, it's about to be May basically. And when I think about a year ago, I remember that, matter of fact, my company wasn't officially established at this point. Melon Intoxicate definitely hadn't launched. And also, I was still working my full time job. And it's interesting because for whatever reason, I've been thinking about different people that I met or interacted with on the dating app and me telling them like the goals that I was working towards at that time. So I was working towards starting a company. I was working towards launching a brand and I was working towards ideally, being in the situation, not necessarily being in the situation that I'm in right now, but ideally working for myself. And it's kind of crazy because actually, I thought about it today. Every goal that I was working on this time last year, I have accomplished. So my company has launched. Melon Intoxicate launched in December. And also, I remember telling Lindsay, like, for whatever reason, by the end of the year, I don't want to be working this full time job and also working the company. Like, I want to be able to just fully invest in my company. And I'm doing all that now. It looks way different than I thought it would, but it doesn't mean that this isn't what was supposed to happen because honestly, in this time that I've been able to solely focus on my company and solely focus on my own personal growth and development, it's almost like I've been in kind of like CEO boot camp because I've never owned a company before. I've always been an excellent employee, but you really have to shift your mind when you are going from being an excellent employee to being an owner of a company. Like it is a completely different thing because the thing with when I was an excellent worker is like all I had to do was show up and do what I needed to do and leave. I didn't have to think about anything else. And then also if I couldn't come and I had PTO or sick time or whatever, they had to figure out, or if I wanted to take vacation or whatever, they had to figure out how to fill in the gap. But like with me being the owner and operator, so like one woman show right now, it's like I have to have a different mindset because the show has to go on. When I don't feel like creating content all the time, especially as much as I've been struggling despite the fact that I haven't missed on anything. And I'm not talking about podcasting. I'm talking about the teaching and the Tamara the Dawn Inc. and Melon Intoxicate content that comes out every day. Literally every day something is coming out. Now, I take a day to create all of that content. So it's not like I'm doing it in real time. It wouldn't happen if that was the case. But I'll take a day. It doesn't take an entire day, but I'll take however many hours to create and schedule all the content for each of those, we'll just say companies, because the goal is to ultimately transition Melon Intoxicate from just being a brand under Tamara the Dawn Inc. to being its own subsidiary company under Tamara the Dawn Inc. But I do that, but I don't always feel like doing that. Like I don't. I really don't at all. And it's crazy because Saturday is my scheduled rest day. So that's a day that I don't touch this computer unless I have a meeting with one of my friends, and we have these monthly Zoom meetings. So that'll be the only reason I touch my computer. Other than that, I don't do anything. And I've even gotten away from doing as much on Sunday. I'll do some stuff like I serve on the creative team at my church, so I do have to touch my computer on Sundays. I should say get to, because it's actually kind of dope. I take notes anyway, so like what I do for them is not really doing too much. But honestly, when I really think about it, because I write this little message description paragraph for like basically summing up my notes, but also the message and whatever, and they'll send that out in the email and use it on social media. And like the notes that I upload, I think they pull from that when they do the caption or whatever. The cool thing with that I didn't even realize, because I didn't even understand what branding was when I agreed to do that. I mean, I guess I did know what it was, but I didn't really use that terminology or even really think about it. I always thought about it is when I write this message description, I have to write it on behalf of them and not me. So it's not about how I would say it or what I would say it. It's about me ultimately making sure I stay in line with their branding, which isn't like super insane because I am a Christian, so it's not like I would write anything wild anyway. But the whole point is, what I realize is that is really what first taught me about branding. And then honestly, if I want to take it back, and this episode is more spiritual than whatever, but one of the things that um the Bible talks about is tithing, and people always only focus on money with that, and that's fine. But it's not really just talking about that. It's like your time and your talent too. And what I know is for me, because everybody is different. But if you know me, I'm a woman of faith or a Christian. I don't necessarily like that label Christian because there's such a negative stigma to it, and I just don't like labels in general anyway. So it's not just Christianity, and God knows that. I usually say on here my relationship with the Lord is important because it is. You know what I'm saying? So knowing that about me, then what I know is that when I would think back, because I reflect a lot because I have a lot of time, by myself or whatever. Especially like I don't have as much client work right now, and so that makes there's like ebbs and flows to how busy my day is, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Especially right now while we're trying to plan for graduation and graduation party and stuff. And so what I know is, when I think back to how long I've been serving on the creative team for years. So I've been serving on the creative team since way before I started podcasting. And I was talking to one of my friends, but she's also like one of the leaders of the creative team or whatever. And I was telling her how when I look back at my journey, it's when I um be was faithful. Because another thing the Bible talks about is if you're faithful with little, like being faithful with, or a wise steward or whatever, of little of whatever you're given, and then you'll be given more. And that's true whether you read the Bible or not. Like, you have to be responsible for being a good employee before you could really be a good business owner. You know what I'm saying? Like, the journey always prepares you for where you're going. That I say that a lot. That's another way to say that. If you want to take away, sorry about that. If you want to take away like the Christian language or whatever, because I know some people, whatever. But the thing about it that's true about it for me is that when I look back, it's when because I wasn't faithful. I wasn't as faithful with serving on the creative team at first, not because for the sake of not being faithful, but I just really didn't know how to do things when I didn't feel like it. And you got to remember, like, this was after the girl's dad was killed. So, like, grieving and all that stuff would really just make things a struggle. And it wasn't until I got myself in check to be faithful and learn how to not be controlled by my emotions just on the creative team. That was at the beginning of 2019 that I started to like, okay, I gotta be a good, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do it well. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me saying that. But ultimately what I see is that when I became a wise steward or was faithful with the little bit that I was giving, because all I at that point did was upload notes. That's it. I didn't even write a message description back then. But once I became faithful with that, then later that year I started my podcast because I also had writer's block. So the whole reason this podcast started is because I couldn't start the blog back then that I wanted to start. So then I was able to learn how to not be moved by how I feel and just do something like the beauty of structure within the freedom. Because I always used to want to just create when I felt like it, right? But if you're going to be consistent at something, you have to do it whether you feel like it or not. So when I look back at my journey and I look where I'm at now, where I am owning a company. I also have a brand that's like separate from the company, Melon Intoxicate. I also have a podcast that I've been recording like crazy lately. I have a blog, I have kids, like I have all these different things, and I'm trying to invest in important social relationships just because, as I said earlier, we weren't created to do life alone, and it needs to be in social ways too. So I have all these things. And also, had I not learned to be faithful and get outside of being moved by just how I felt, then I was able to start a podcast and be consistent with that. Y'all know I don't miss. Every week an episode is gonna come in. Sometimes right now you're gonna get a lot of bonus episodes. And then once I became faithful with that, then I added blogging. So blogging was a year after podcasting. And then once I became faithful with that, then um the workings of Melon Intoxicate came into play. And then by the time I launched Tamara the Dawn Inc. and Melon Intoxicate, it's like no matter what I'm going through, what needs to be done is going to happen. And I share a lot of what I'm going through, but I don't share all necessarily even the specifics of how we got here because honestly, it doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows that I'm in transition, so I'm staying at my mom's house. I'm now without a vehicle. We know why I left my job, but it's like really the why doesn't matter. It's just this is the situation and life be lifing. I say that a lot right now. Life be lifing because that's just the things that are specific to me. Let's not even get into, my youngest and her struggles and even just when you have a parent of adult children, that was like a whole different type of parenting because then it's like they're going to do what they're going to do and you have to let them figure it out and they might not even share with you what's going on, and then even when they do and if you advise them they may or may not listen. And at the end of the day, no parent wants their child to go through hard times, but sometimes people have to go through that to learn whatever it is they need to learn to prepare them for whatever they want to do or where they're going because we all have our own journeys, including our kids. You know what I'm saying? They have to live their life. Now, I can't live it for them, nor can I expect them to live the life that I want them to live or the career or whatever. Like we're all our own unique people. And so with that, it's harder, I'd say, at parenting adults than it is any other phase because you really have to kind of just let them do their thing. And they've all had their different battles and journeys that they're on or whatever. And so like all of that, but I can't let how I feel stop what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Even with, let's bring it back home, my room. Part of why it got to being just chaotic and me just not caring is because I've been frustrated with my situation. You know what I'm saying? Frustrated with things not moving as quickly as I want them to or whatever. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I have to, amidst all that I'm going through, still do the things that are good to me and good for me, and not feel like I don't deserve the good things just because, like, I've gotten to go on 2 vacations ultimately, and financially, really, that shouldn't have been a reality, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't have enjoyed it, and I shouldn't be happy about that and feel grateful just because I didn't necessarily pay for everything, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just really lately, I've had to shift my perspective. That's important, but I've also had to do some practical things like clean my room. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you don't like them dark circles, do what you got to do so you don't have to see them. You know what I'm saying? And doing that little extra razzle dazzle that I like for myself. And then if I decide I wanted to get back into full makeup, well, I will have to buy some. So that ain't going to happen no time soon because I'm not about to spend money on that. But if I decide I want to get back into that, cool. But if not, you know what I'm saying? Whatever little bit I can do, making sure I'm exfoliating my skin, like just the stuff that's always been important to me, like getting back to the basics, which is why these episodes, regardless of whether goodness, like, and it's so funny because, man, y'all almost in real life, in real life, like this is fake, but the reality is that y'all almost would get episodes every day. Really, I intentionally wait before dropping another one. I don't even know why. I don't even know why, but because that's just how much is going on in my heart right now. I've decided that it's okay, I guess, to be more emotional, you know what I'm saying, and feel more deeply. This must just be how I'm supposed to be, or it's obviously how I am right now. So I've made my peace with that. But yeah, who knows? There may come to a time when maybe I will get daily episodes like this, but then still the weekly is still going to be what it's going to be because I think doing having these gives me the space to where there's a lot more stuff I want to do with guests, like ideas, but I've kind of held back cuz I'm like, bruh, I got to do my solo episodes too. So now that I've taken off the limitations of my own mind that, oh, I only, like, who said I could only have one bonus episode per week? Nobody. I said that, but why? You know what I'm saying? So now that I've kind of taken that limitation off of my mind, I mean, it may be that I don't do one for a while, these Closet Chronicles or whatever, but as long as it's kind of like I can't let adding guest ideas because my mind is just all over the place with ideas lately. I can't let adding guest ideas mean that I don't keep the main thing. The main thing is really the point of these. So I guess I get, I guess I get, I guess that's all I got for y'all today. Yeah, and I guess I will. I mean, obviously, you're gonna hear from me tomorrow with a regular episode. But other than that, with these, I'll talk to you when I talk to you.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for...